Nobody expected this twist at all. After walking away from a 9-year marriage with no kids and plenty of emotional scars, DeVon Franklin made it very clear he was done moving fast, done forcing timelines, and done trying to make things work just for appearances. He talked openly about taking his time, healing properly, and never rushing love again. But that promise didn't last long at all, because fast forward and DeVon Franklin is already remarried. Not only that, but whispers are flying that his new wife, Maria Castillo, could be expecting any moment now. The same man who said he needed space and reflection is suddenly building a brand new life. And people online are doing double takes. And while Devon looks like he's charging full speed ahead, sources say this whole situation has hit Meagan Good in a deep way. From the outside, she's smiling and pushing forward. But behind the scenes, it's not sitting right. Especially when you compare how quickly Devon moved on versus the shaky situation she's been dealing with alongside Jonathan Majors. Let's not forget Megan and Devon weren't just a celebrity couple. They were a whole movement. 9 full years of marriage, countless interviews, and even a book, The Wait, where they preach patience, faith, and holding off until marriage. They told the world to let God handle the timing and trust the process, only for the marriage to quietly fall apart. When the divorce news finally dropped in December 2021, Megan was the first to speak out. Her statement was calm, reflective, and focused on growth and peace. Devon followed shortly after, but his response hit very different. He posted a message about feeling shattered, paired with a selfie where he was visibly emotional, saying his entire belief system had been flipped upside down. That image changed the narrative instantly. The internet ran with the idea that Devon was the one left behind, blindsided and heartbroken. People assumed Megan pulled the plug and walked away, leaving him trying to pick up the pieces. Devon spoke openly about not knowing how to exist as a single man and struggling with the idea that the future he imagined no longer existed. In one interview, he literally said, "I never saw this moment. When I said I do, there was never a moment when we were thinking I don't." So to live in the "I don't," that's pain. And once that message hit social media, the backlash toward Megan came fast and heavy. Long before the split, there had already been quiet tension surrounding Megan within Devon's church circles. Some people felt she didn't fit the image of a pastor's wife or the traditional mold they expected. She was labeled as too Hollywood, too focused on her career, and not interested in shrinking herself down. Criticism followed her everywhere, from the roles she accepted to the clothes she wore. Meanwhile, Devon was often seen stepping in to defend her, standing firm that she was his partner and his choice. But after the marriage officially ended, the grace disappeared. The same people who once smiled in public were suddenly pointing fingers, acting like they knew all along that it wouldn't last. Now here's where things get really interesting. While Devon was out here crying in selfies and doing emotional interviews about being broken, behind the scenes, he was already moving pieces on the chessboard. Because less than a year after that divorce announcement, Devon was spotted with someone new. And not just spotted, he was posting her, praising her, calling her a blessing, and describing her as a gift placed in his life at the perfect time. Her name? Maria Castillo, a fitness trainer who looked nothing like what people expected him to choose next. No Hollywood background, no entertainment industry connections, just a regular fitness professional who apparently caught the eye of a man who claimed he needed years to heal. The timeline here is wild when you really break it down. Devon and Megan's divorce was finalized in June 2022. By early 2023, Devon was already soft launching his new relationship on social media. Little glimpses here and there, a woman's hand in his Instagram stories, mysterious dinner dates with the other person cropped out, cryptic posts about new beginnings and God's timing. Then boom, by mid-2023, he goes public with Maria. Not just dating, but seriously committed. And according to insiders, they weren't taking things slow at all. Word on the street was that Devon proposed within months of going public, completely contradicting everything he said about needing time to figure out who he was as a single man. But wait, it gets wilder. Because while Devon was speedrunning his new relationship, Megan was dealing with her own situation. She had started dating Jonathan Majors, and if you know anything about what went down with him, you know that relationship came with its own heavy storm. When Jonathan's legal troubles hit the headlines, Megan didn't run. She showed up, stood beside him, and stayed present during court appearances. That alone had people questioning her judgment and wondering if she was repeating old patterns. The contrast was stark. DeVon, with his clean cut fitness trainer fiance, posting workout videos and Bible verses, while Meagan was walking into courtrooms holding hands with the man facing serious allegations. The church community that had already been side eyeing Meagan went into overdrive. They pointed to her choice in Jonathan as proof that she was the problem in her marriage with DeVon. Comment sections were brutal. This is why DeVon left. They said, she clearly has bad judgment, they typed. DeVon dodged a bullet became the recurring theme. But here's what people weren't talking about. The speed at which DeVon moved on raised its own questions. This man wrote entire books about waiting, about letting God lead, about not rushing into physical or emotional connections. He built a whole brand on patience and divine timing. Yet here he was, seemingly throwing all that out the window for a woman he'd known for maybe a hot minute. Sources close to Meagan say she was genuinely shocked when she found out about the engagement. Not because she wanted him back, that ship had sailed, but because it felt like everything they'd built their relationship on was being rewritten. The narrative they'd sold to millions of people about waiting, praying, and moving with intention suddenly looked like it only applied when it was convenient. And now, the baby rumors. Multiple sources are claiming Maria is either pregnant or recently gave birth. If these rumors are true, it means DeVon went from, I don't know how to be single, to, I'm having a baby with my new wife in less than 2 years. That's a complete 180 from the man who spent nearly a decade with Meagan without having children. Remember, one of the reported issues in DeVon and Meagan's marriage was the timeline for having kids. Sources claim they couldn't agree on when to start a family, with their careers pulling them in different directions. DeVon allegedly wanted to settle down and have babies, while Meagan was still focused on her acting career. Now suddenly, with Maria, all those concerns seem to have evaporated. Meanwhile, Meagan's been handling this whole situation with a grace that's honestly impressive. When asked about DeVon's new marriage, she keeps it classy, saying she wishes him well and that everyone deserves happiness. But sources close to her say privately, it stings. Not because she wants him back, but because the public narrative makes it seem like she was the villain in their story. In one particularly revealing interview, Meagan said, I had to accept that if this isn't something I've chosen, but it's something that God has allowed, then God has allowed it for a good reason. And I think that we both have grown from it tremendously. She paused before adding, at the time I was so mad at DeVon, but now I think what he did was very brave. That last part had people reading between the lines. What exactly did DeVon do that was brave? File for divorce? Move on quickly? The ambiguity left room for speculation. The celebrity gossip world has been eating this up. Every new photo of DeVon and Maria gets dissected. Every interview Meagan does gets analyzed for hidden meanings. When Maria posted a photo with what looked like a baby registry in the background, the internet went into detective mode. When Meagan posted about new beginnings and divine timing, people wondered if she was throwing shade. But here's what's really wild about this whole situation. The complete transformation of DeVon's public persona. The man who once posted Bible verses about patience now posts gym selfies with Maria. The guy who wrote books about celibacy and waiting is now allegedly rushing into parenthood. For Meagan, watching her ex-husband potentially start the family they never had together has to hit different. Friends say she's been focusing on her own journey, including her spiritual growth and career projects. But there's no denying the emotional weight of seeing someone you spent 9 years with suddenly living out plans you once made together with someone else. The Jonathan Majors situation adds another layer of complexity. While DeVon's out here playing happy families, Meagan's been dealing with the fallout of standing by a man through a very public legal battle. The contrast in their post-divorce paths couldn't be more different. DeVon chose safe and traditional. Meagan chose complicated and controversial. Recently, Meagan's been more vocal about her journey of self-discovery. She's talked about therapy, about unpacking what she really wants versus what she thought she was supposed to want. In one interview, she mentioned how being married to someone in ministry came with expectations she never fully processed until after the marriage ended. I was trying to be something I wasn't, she admitted, and I think we both were. That statement hits different when you look at how quickly DeVon seemed to find exactly what he was looking for with Maria. It raises the question, was he also trying to be something he wasn't with Megan? Or did he always know what he wanted and tried to make Megan fit that mold? The religious community's response has been predictably divided. Progressive Christians have called out the double standard in how Megan and DeVon have been treated. Conservative voices have used this as an example of what happens when you don't follow traditional biblical roles in marriage. Social media has become a battlefield of opinions. Team Megan supporters point out how she's been vilified for simply being ambitious and independent. Team DeVon defenders argue he has every right to move on and find happiness. But the baby news, if it's true, changes everything. It's one thing to remarry quickly, it's another to start a family that fast. For all the talk about God's timing and divine planning, this timeline seems very human and very rushed. Sources close to the situation say Megan found out about the pregnancy rumors through social media speculation. Allegedly, she had to mute certain keywords just to avoid the constant updates about her ex-husband's new life. The professional impact has been interesting to watch. DeVon's still getting booked for speaking engagements about relationships and faith, though the tone has shifted. He talks less about waiting and more about God's restoration and new seasons. Meanwhile, Megan's been booking more acting roles, including some that she might not have taken when she was trying to maintain a certain image as a pastor's wife. The pregnancy speculation reached a peak when Maria was notably absent from several recent events where DeVon appeared solo. In Hollywood, that's usually a telltale sign that someone's either very pregnant or recently gave birth. DeVon's been deflecting questions with practice ease, talking about privacy and protecting what God has blessed us with. For Megan, every milestone in DeVon's new relationship becomes a public reminder of their failed marriage. When he posts about God's perfect timing, the subtext seems clear. Their timing was wrong, but this new timing is right. What's really interesting is how this mirrors larger conversations about relationships, timing, and second chances. DeVon's quick remarriage challenges the narrative that men need time to heal after divorce. Megan standing by Jonathan challenges ideas about who deserves support and when to walk away. And now, with baby news potentially dropping any day, the story enters a new chapter. If DeVon and Maria announce a pregnancy or birth, it'll dominate headlines for weeks. Every outlet will want Megan's reaction. Every interviewer will ask DeVon about the timing. The child, who didn't ask for any of this, will be born into a narrative that started before they even existed. The truth is, we might never know the full story of what happened between Megan and DeVon. Marriage is complicated, and divorce even more so. But what we can see is two people trying to move forward in very different ways, with the whole world watching and judging every step. For Megan, the challenge is continuing to hold her head high while her ex-husband seemingly gets everything they once planned together with someone else. For DeVon, it's managing the optics of moving on so quickly while maintaining his position as a relationship expert and spiritual leader. Neither path is easy, but only one of them comes with baby bottles and midnight feedings. As this story continues to unfold, one thing's for certain. The narrative about waiting, timing, and God's plan has gotten a lot more complicated. The couple who once preached patience ended up being an example of how sometimes moving fast isn't the problem. It's about moving in the right direction with the right person. So what do you think? Is DeVon's quick remarriage and potential baby a sign he's finally found what he was looking for? Or did he just rush into something new to avoid dealing with the old? And where does this leave Megan? Is she better off free from expectations that never fit? Or is watching her ex live out their plans with someone else the ultimate heartbreak?